Welcome to Show Sunday, as this is the beginning of the month. I decided, after a little bit of trial and error, that we were going to watch Infinity Train. Specifically Season 1 of Infinity Train. After all, since it's a mini-series, so there's 10 episodes a season, and the episodes are 11 minutes, so lines up pretty closely with 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This actually was the pilot for this was released on YouTube I don't know, 3 years ago or something. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, it was. It's a the original pilot was. It's not the same but it's the same kind of episode as the one that introduces Atticus with the corgis. So it's interesting because I recognize there's some lines of dialogue that were definitely in the pilot. But and there was that pilot was released. There was pretty good amount of attention. A lot of people going, "Oh, this is interesting," and I want to see this. And then there was kind of no news about it whatsoever until mid last year, and then it was sort of oh, this is going to be a mini series, and season 1's gonna be happening in a few months. And everyone's like, "Oh, okay."
So sudden.
Yeah. So season 1 came out. It was 2 episodes a day over the span of a week, basically. The weekdays, and I think it was early September last year. I think that's when it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 2 was early January this year.
Oh.
So pretty soon afterwards, and then season 3 is going to be in 2 weeks or something. So yeah. So what'd you think?
I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know anything going into it because it's I think you had mentioned that it's a train that goes on for infinity. So it's people get trapped on it. So I was I didn't exactly know what to expect, and it's definitely one of those things where you kind of have to, I think, not knowing what to expect going into it is actually a good thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
I didn't realize that you actually showed me the pilot of this until we got to the Atticus episode, and I was like, wait, I remember this dog.
he's so cute. The characters are cute, and it's really cute and funny, but then there's also some really, it handles some really tough topics too at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say something very offhanded right now, but I'm glad that the art style isn't ugly, because I have kind of a problem with some other Western cartoon animation styles. They're just not very appealing to me. This one is very nicely drawn.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty simplistic, but it
properly.
Still works well. Yeah. Yeah,
It's too over the top, I guess, is what you are getting at, me.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not I don't want to outwardly shade some shows that I haven't even watched, but I just don't like how they look. But it's kind of that quote unquote very generic style that some cartoons have nowadays.
Yeah, well, don't have to worry about that here. And yeah, I remember because again, the pilot episode that was that corgi episode, there wasn't any really deep topics in that episode. That was more just here's kind of a quirky scenario, but at the same time there is something going on that's a little bit kind of weird and odd.
Fishy.
And what's going right. So it was kind of the mystery angle of it that a lot of people got interested in. But yeah, I don't think anyone really expected it to actually kind of honestly pretty seriously tackle some topics that are kind of uncomfortable topics, but at the same time I really like how it's handled, because they are things that, again, I'm thinking of this also from a perspective, because this is ultimately a kid's thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that, kids have to deal with this stuff too, right?
Yeah.
And nobody, I can't think of anything, at least at the top of my head, that really handles that kind of topic in this way, where it really doesn't sugarcoat it at all, right?
No.
Because
It
a lot of
doesn't
times
sugarcoat
for kid stuff, it's like, oh, it's kind of like a metaphor for this kind of stuff, or an allegory, and this is like, no, this is what's happening, it's affecting the character this way, and they have to deal with it, right? So, yeah.
And it's kind of like she has to deal with it in certain parts too. Like it tackles like different angles of the situation that she was living through and everything too. And it shows her that yeah, you're going about it the wrong way. And yeah, it's going to be hard and painful and stuff like that, but this is you kind of just have to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
And in the end, she became a better person out of it too. After she realized what some of the things she was doing wrong, and it's like it's a very psychological TV show, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when I first watched it, the thing, like, definitely episode 5 with the memories, that was the one where I was like, oh, there's more to this than just weird
like,
quirkiness.
They went there.
Yeah. So, and then also, just because again, remember how it was released 2 episodes a day, right? So
Yeah.
when the 4th day rolled around, and we're like, okay, time for the 4th day, and then episode 8 ends the way it does, everyone was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, which again, like the fact, and I know that at the end of the day, stuff kind of gets resolved or whatever, but like.
That's still terrifying.
Yeah, it's still like pretty like, oh shit, they actually went there. So
Atticus fucking dies for a couple of like hours, I guess.
yeah. And they literally show him like, well, they don't. I guess they don't show the exact moment where he's shot, but they show him like held up, and he looks like all sad, and then it's like oh my god. So yeah.
And you see his limp body too, and him transform.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So that's. Yeah, they definitely. Again, I'm really glad how this show handles stuff that's not pleasant. Yeah, and again, keeping the mystery there as well, because like it's not like, for example, you don't like. There's still things about like the train and just like how does this whole system even work? Like, what was the point of it? Like, you don't know like the answer to everything, right? After watching
Yeah.
this season, I will say season 2 does go into that more. There is sort of, I guess, like more lore, so to speak, about kind of what the deal is and how things specifically work.
I guess that makes sense, since in season 1, like the conductor is kind of like not actually the conductor, and now the actual conductor is there. So
yeah. So one thing that I was kind of thinking when they announced there was going to be a season 2, because they announced there's going to be a season 2 very shortly after the season 1 aired, but I was like, I was like kind of worried at first, because I was like, well, the thing with Tulip, like her character arc kind of ended, right?
yeah,
So like, how would that work? And so, but what they revealed a bit later was that they were going to have different people on the train, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. So you can keep the sort of general atmosphere and sort of the idea of Infinity Train, but you have it with different characters that have their own different problems, right? And so, that's what season 2 does. There's sort of a new group of 3 characters, 2 of which are on the train, and 1 of which, comes on. I will say that I think this is generally the opinion that season 2 is a bit worse, but the opinion of how much varies a little bit. I think I'm actually in the lower end where of it, but I would still like rate it pretty high. But the main thing for me is there's sort of 2 things. So the first is that the guy for season 2 is this guy Jesse, and I find him kind of annoying. Not like really annoying, but like a little annoying. And the thing is, the whole like real life issue that he's dealing with is something that I'm really glad they addressed, and it's something that actually has personally affected me before, and it's something where I'm like, this is good that they're showing this to, again, younger people. But once they kind of show it off, they then kind of drop it and don't really address it again. Because like, even after, again, thinking about like an episode 5 here with Tulip's memories, that still comes up, at least kind of thematically, and with how she interacts with other things throughout the rest of the series.
yeah.
That kind of doesn't happen in season 2. So it's sort of like, oh, this is interesting. How are they going to do this? And then it's like they just kind of don't until it gets to the very end, and then it's like, oh, and it's fine now. And it's like, okay. And then the other thing that bothers me a bit about season 2 is that between the seasons there is sort of like a connection from season 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. So the connection is that the reflection tulip from this, she's a main character in season 2.
Oh.
Now, she does have her own sort of self-discovery thing that goes on there, but it sort of feels like to me that she sort of ends up overshadowing Jessie. So it kind of feels like, oh, it's just the Tulip show again.
Oh, I see.
Right? So, again, like, and I recognize that, like, even though I'm kind of, like, being negative about it, again, I'm not really that negative. It's still overall positive. It's not like they do the same thing again. It's not like the same show. And there is some interesting lore stuff that happens as well. So it is still positive, but, like, you know, if I were to give these ratings, like, the seasons, I would give season 1, like, a 9, but I give season 2, like, a 7, but, like, a very high 7. So, you know, the exact feeling of everything is, again, most people would probably view season 2 better than I do. So if you liked the season 1, you should still watch season 2. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it. And there is, again, characters who are introduced in season 2 who are going to be important in season 3. So yeah. But that said, that connection I actually think is going to be very interesting based on who those characters are. So I guess I'll find out in a few weeks.
That's true.
That's true. And then at the end of the year, if we ever get to the end of the year, discussion, we'll find out.
Yeah, or if I can ever get my... I'm honestly thinking, again, I mentioned a while ago that I wanted to make a video about the shows that I've watched. I'm thinking I might just say screw it and just wait until the end of the year and just do it all then.
At this rate, might as well.
I probably won't do it in the discussion just to save, you know, hours of your time, but I'll make my own video, but I'll probably put it out at the end of the year. So I don't know, I'll figure it out. Because I've already watched something else then in the meantime, since I'd already planned out what I was going to talk about in the video, and I've watched something else, so I have to change everything. Whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, in terms of this show, I think again, the characterization is good. The messages and themes and what is they're dealing with in the show is done really well. It's like Tara, you said, it is legitimately funny, but also has, like, you know, really good emotional moments.
Yeah, it has its good beats, and it's not like overly. It's not like, I know how some shows they're like entirely funny and then like and not serious and everything, and then they suddenly introduce a like serious moment and stuff. And here it actually feels very organic.
Yeah,
I think it's also because, like, they introduced the divorce in the very beginning, and you're like, oh, okay, this girl's not having a great time, so when it comes up, like, more harshly, then it makes sense, because, you know, something she has to deal with.
Yeah,
and also, just in general, like, there's this kind of slightly, like, somber atmosphere kind of throughout everything, and I think that's often due to the music, because it's very kind of minimalistic.
Yeah, the music very music oriented, like especially like there's no theme song, but like the I guess like 20-second like instrumental that plays when the title card is put up, like it sets the mood immediately that this is like a mystery-esque, somber-esque show.
Yeah, and there is some background stuff that happens at different times that uses the similar instrumentation and stuff that, again, it works really well at sort of keeping it into a mood. Or even if there's like kind of a happy moment or a happy episode, there's still this kind of thought in the back of your head that, like, something's up, right? So, yeah, it does that really well. Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm glad that that we actually got a show from this pilot from several years ago, and that, you know, it's good and we'll continue to get more, and yeah, so I don't know, any other thoughts? Are you thinking, would you be down to check out seasons 2 and 3 when that comes out?
Yeah, of course. It
does help that it's, you know, pretty short to watch, so
yeah. It's like an hour and a half to get through all 10 episodes or so.
It's between that and 2 hours, however you calculate.
It's like a short movie.
Yeah, basically, it's just like if you want to, you know, and also it helps because the episodes, it is nice to just kind of sit down and just watch the whole thing, for each season as you go. So, yeah, and I do like. I'm glad that they are seemingly well, each season is having its own sort of characters kind of do their own thing with a bit of a connection between them. So that helps keep things fresh. Because again, that was one of the things they kind of said about season 2, because the Tulip Reflection was kind of part of it, but that's seemingly not the case for season 3. So the only real connection between season 2 and season 3 seems to be some characters that were introduced in season 2. Well, 1-1 will probably be relevant because, I mean, he's the conductor now, so, you know.
Yeah.
He's the train god.
Yeah. There are also a few, like, shorts on YouTube that are, like, just, like, 2 minutes. If you want to kind of look at those that are canonically between season 1 and 2. I mean, you don't need to watch them before season 2, but they're there. So.
Are there clips of Atticus?
Yeah.
I don't remember. The shorts were specifically about, like, 1-1 now that he is the conductor, basically kind of, like, going to a random car and being like, this is the block car, and, like, shenanigans ensue. So, I don't remember. I don't think Atticus shows up for any of them, but I might be wrong. But, there is...
Do we never see Atticus again?
I don't think so.
No, good
But
boy.
there is, Season 2 and Season 3 have their own, animal companions. So, it's kind of the joke. You have the human character who gets stuck on the train, you have the animal companion, and then you have the third character who is, like, the person actually has the connection with the train itself. Basically, and that's kind of true for, like, seemingly... Well, for 1 and 2, it's definitely true, and seemingly that's what it is for Season 3, also based on the trailer. Yeah. So... Yeah, well, I'm glad you liked it.
Yay!
And, we're ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
well, we have to, first, before we say anything, we forgot to mention a replacement last time. So, what did we say? Oh yeah, after we watched Jurassic Park, we random a replacement, and it ended up being also another kind of well-known action-y movie from a bit ago, though this one's from earlier, which is the first Indiana Jones movie, so Raiders of the Lost Ark.
This one I actually did not watch before.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. The
Okay.
only thing I know is that one clip that is used as a reaction GIF, and I don't know why people did that, because,
Oh yeah, that.
man, that's a scary-looking reaction GIF. It's like the person's face melting off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see this once, like, between, I don't know, 8-ish years ago, maybe?
Once or twice, and yeah, a really long time ago I saw it.
Yeah, but I liked it, so it'd be kind of
Same.
nice to see it again. Okay, so there's that, but since we watched October Sky lastly, now we have the replacement that Maya's going to be giving us, and what is that?
Drum roll.
I decided to put Stand By Me.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's another, what's it? Is that another, like, Stephen King story? Like, Green Mile?
I don't know.
I believe it is.
I know it's like about a group of boys who are friends, but I don't know if it's actually by Stephen King or not.
You replaced a movie with boys who are friends with another movie with boys who are friends.
Boys who are friends.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
That
it
is
is
Stephen King.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because I remember seeing it. I'm like, I thought that was on, like, a list someone made of, like, the best Stephen King movies. So there you
Oh
go.
my god, I've been picking all these Stephen King movies without realizing they're Stephen King movies.
He's your husbando. I mean, he's also, like, 70, but whatever.
Grandpa. The shortest movie on the list now.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was so short. Yeah, okay. But we still have to random our current options. So, get this pulled up here to do that. And we get...
1 out of 2. We get
Thank God.
we get
Okay.
Mai's other film. We get
Yay!
If Beale Street Could Talk.
This just means that I'm prolonging the whole thing of us watching Brazil and me potentially not liking Brazil.
And I said this to them both before the call, but I said that again we don't know anything about Brazil, but someone in a conversation about another random topic, someone brought up Brazil, basically of like, this movie is relevant to this topic, and that made me go, huh. So I'm not saying what the topic is yet, but we're coming upon it, but yeah, okay. Well, that's next then.
Yeah. I guess consequently we also know what's after it too.
Yep. And then we'll go into the unknown.
Yes.
Yep.
What crazy shenanigans will we get ourselves into?
Who knows? As we step onto the Infinity Train.
Well, we kind of stepped off of it, but we got off at an unknown
what's
station.
Continuity now.
We
got off at Beale Street.
Yeah, that works.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Something simple.
Well, okay. Well, I guess see you for that next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.